Daniel dropped from VCARB, and nothing says welcome to F1 like a grid penalty. All this and more on the Traffic Report. Hello and welcome to the Traffic Report on Traffic Paradise Radio, your source for the hottest F1 news. I am Immy, and joining me today is Uno.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Are you ready for our weekly dose of news?
Yep, always ready.
Great. Our first story today. After whisperings and protests, it is now confirmed that Alpine will cease the use of Renault engines after the 2025 season. They will transition from a works team to a customer team. It is highly likely they will begin using Mercedes engines from 2026 onwards. So, will we see Alpine higher up the grid in 2026?
Probably. Their engine's not great. I would imagine with the Merc engine they'll do better. But I think that's kind of a bit sad at the same time though. Renault have a great history in Formula One, and to lose them as an engine manufacturer is very sad.
They have the third most victories of any engine manufacturer at 178. That's like quite a legacy to just be sort of like, no, we're not having this anymore. It's really quite bittersweet because Alpine have been running an engine deficit. Like, there obviously is an issue, but it's sort of sad that there's no way to like work with the engine team and come up with a solution.
Yeah, I think they've just been leapfrogged by the other teams in terms of their improvements over the years. And they've now reached a point where they're sort of too far away to catch up. I know they had like that terrible time at Red Bull when their engines kept on blowing up. And I think they've kind of never really recovered from that. It's very sad. I mean, Fernando Alonso won both of his championships with Renault powered cars. Sebastian Vettel as well won championships with the Renault engine. And perhaps fittingly, this past weekend in Taiwan, Yuki Tsunoda drove one of the old Red Bull cars that was powered by a Renault engine, and the Renault engine blew up or caught on fire or whatever after
Yeah,
doing like 1 kilometer.
I was just thinking about that. Like, the engine caught on fire, and then a couple of days later, we're not using them anymore. Bad omen.
Yeah, I think maybe maybe that was the final nail in the coffin. I thought it was quite strange though, because like Honda must be, I would imagine if I was Honda, I would be very pissed off because they put Honda on the side of that car.
Ah,
But meanwhile, it's a Renault engine that's catching on fire,
yeah.
and Honda can't be happy about that.
It's always really weird that they have, when they do show runs, they have to run the most updated livery. I mean, I think it's like sponsor wise, all the sponsors of that team have to be on that car when it's doing anything. But it is, I don't think that's good. That's not good PR for Honda.
No, not at all. And also, like, I think it's weird. Whatever was on the car when that car was in Formula One should remain on the car, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some issues. I can understand if you take off a Marlboro branding because of tobacco laws or whatever. But other than that, I don't see why you can't keep the old sponsors on.
With old sponsors, it's the team maybe doesn't want to give them that advertisement if they're not paying for it anymore. I mean, I think that's the only angle it could be, but it's sort of like just do it for the legacy.
Yeah, I don't know. If it was me and I was doing like I was signing that contract or whatever, I'd be like, in future, every time you take that car that I sponsored out, my sponsorship should be on it. If I
Yeah.
sponsored that car in 2008 and you are advertising it as the 2008 car, I want my name on that car. That simple. Because I'm sure at the factory where they keep them there at the factory, you know, in the with all the setup, I'm sure they keep the sponsors' names on, don't they? It's part of the history of the car. It should stay.
If they have them on display, it'll be the old liveries. It only seems like for show runs they bring them out, they redo them, and
Yeah.
then well,
Anyway, sorry to all the people at the Renault factory.
I don't know.
At least you did it. You're the last engine to blow up. At least your name wasn't on it. There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, I'm sure they'll be moved to other areas though. Like we discussed this, I want to say when there was sort of whisperings of it.
Yeah, I think when they went on strike.
Yeah. So it'll be like moving to World Endurance Championship and that kind of thing. So it's not like people are losing jobs, but it's still like you signed up to work on a Formula One engine and now all of a sudden you're doing endurance. Like,
Yeah, it's very
so,
sad.
well,
It's just it's always sad when these things happen. Like there's the legacy angle, but also, there's the human angle of people have put
yeah.
time, work, effort, blood, sweat, tears into this, and it's all for naught at the end of the day. Very sad.
Now, on to Williams. James Vowles has spoken about the conundrum that is Franco Colapinto's future. Although he got the seat with no expectations of a grid spot in 25, he has performed so well he has caught the eyes of many as an exciting prospect. James has been in talks with Audi, although he admitted interest wasn't high. In the likelihood that he doesn't get a seat, Williams has created a backup plan. Franco will complete extensive testing of previous cars and simulator programs to keep him in racing shape. They are also looking into other series Franco could compete in. So, do you think we'll see Franco at Williams in the coming years?
I don't know. I think if they're not careful, he might get snatched up by another team.
Hmm.
But I think, yeah, it's a bit tricky for him next year. If he can't get that Sauber seat, there isn't really another option for him unless a certain driver at one of the other teams does terribly and they need like a mid-season replacement. He might be on a list to get a seat then. But yeah, I think if Williams is willing to devote some time and money and resources to keeping him in racing shape and giving him more experience in older cars, I think that's great for him. This sort of little last bit of the season that he gets to race in was not expected for him.
Hmm.
It wasn't like he was contracted to do it and he's been waiting this long time. Kind of like it's not like Liam Lawson coming in now at VCARB. This was just he got lucky, he got a seat, and now he's doing well. So I think he understands that next year is not on for him, but the fact that Williams is willing to devote time and energy and resources to him and give him those opportunities to try out the old cars, I think it shows that they see he's got a future within the team,
Hmm.
and that can only mean good things for him. He's got the confidence of the team, which is super, super important. Because if he doesn't have that, he's not going to get a racing seat, and the chances of there being, even in 2026, a new driver is probably quite slim. I would imagine that a lot of the lineups will remain the same for 2026. I know a lot of the contracts that people signed this year are 2-year contracts, so there might not be a lot of option for him.
They're extended into the future and we don't know how long the contract is because they don't like to tell us that anymore. It's like multi-year.
Yeah, basically. And I think with there being new regulations, teams probably don't want to put like a new person, not even like a rookie, just someone from another
Mm.
team even, in for new regs. They want someone that they because they want to design the new cars around the drivers that they have. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I would imagine we're gonna be seeing a lot more of Franco Colapinto in the future, even if he takes a year off.
I'm pretty sure Carlos has a pretty strong exit clause in his contract if Williams underperform to what he's been told they will. And I
Hmm.
feel like if he had an opportunity elsewhere, which I mean, he's in this situation because he didn't have opportunities, obviously. But if he ended up having an opportunity somewhere, say somebody retired suddenly, all of a sudden the team needs somebody and Carlos is there, he's experienced. I think he would take that opportunity. And then I think in part that's why Williams are building up Franco so much. If something happens, they have Franco. I don't think Carlos is there like 100% to stay.
Yeah, probably not. But also, like, he's unfortunately in the one team where an appendicitis is not an issue. So he'll have to hope for some sort of other ailment to get him into a race because everyone's appendixes are out there. So he's gonna have to hope for like a severely stubbed toe.
The big news that has been circulating for the past week is that Daniel Ricciardo has been dropped by VCARB. There were whisperings from Media Day at Singapore all the way until the fateful Thursday when it was announced, a week after the rumours and reports started following the Italian outfit like a storm cloud. In the end, it seemingly came down to contract requirements and the ethos from which Daniel joined in the beginning. Helmut Marko has confirmed that Daniel knew before Singapore that his time with the team was up, which brings into question why there was no proper farewell. Even though we've kind of discussed it already, how do you feel about Daniel being dropped?
Look, I think it was he hasn't been a shining star. Let's just be honest. You know, his performances come and go. He's not. How do I say this diplomatically? He's not performing at a level that would warrant him going to Red Bull. Given that that's why he was brought back in to be a potential replacement for Sergio Perez, I can understand why he was dropped. He is taking up space in a junior team that should be for developing drivers, younger drivers, and he just doesn't have what it takes to go up to the main team. So keeping him on seems to be a bit of a waste of time. Could they have handled it better? Absolutely. It was a bit sort of, I think, quite mean of them to do it the way they did. It didn't show a lot of respect for Daniel, and it's engendered a lot of ill will towards Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda and VCARB and Red Bull. It was a PR nightmare. And given that, Daniel Ricciardo is often known as like the PR person, the PR driver, and it just seems very odd that someone with such a fervent fan base and such a good relationship with the media would be treated in a way that is so antithetical to good public relations.
Yeah, even if they kept the messy sort of not announcing it until after Singapore, I feel like having announced Daniel being dropped and then about 10 minutes later, welcome Liam, it's like from a PR perspective, it's not great because Liam was going to get hate regardless. That's just how it works when a beloved driver gets replaced in any context. That's going to happen. People are going to be upset. That's fair, I think. Maybe they should sort of channel their upset not at the person, but people are going to be people. But doing it so quickly, not like giving people a chance to just be sad, it's like it put Liam right in the target, right? People couldn't just be upset for like a week without being like, oh, and look who's in his seat now. I mean, even then, Marco has wanted to replace Daniel since like Spain. If Daniel knew before Singapore, I mean, even if he didn't, even if you told him on media day, I do not see why, in any circumstance, this was the best way to go about it. But hey, it's happened now. I mean, I think I kind of agree with him being dropped. It's like the way he came into the team, it was supposed to be he goes out there, absolutely destroys Yuki, jumps into the Red Bull. That was supposed to be the pipeline, and that hasn't happened. So what's the point? But then again, I don't know if I would have minded keeping him on for the last six. It just seems like PR issues that could have been avoided. I don't know.
Yeah, they should have at least let him go, like, announce it now, let him drive Kota because he's very big in America.
Yeah.
It would have been good. It would have been a good farewell. Let him ride off into the sunset on a fucking horse. It could have been a PR win. You could have
Yes.
sent him out in front of an adoring crowd. You could have sent him off riding a horse into the sunset. Like, it could have been scripted to be such a beautiful and celebratory moment of his career, of who he is as a person, and it would have been great for the sponsors. The sponsors would have been happy because they would have gotten one more sort of American race out of him, which I think they're quite keen on because he's quite popular there. And it just would have looked better. They could have announced it now, said this will be his last race. We're so indebted to everything Daniel has given to us, and we want to give him one last big hurrah in front of an adoring public. And it would have gone down perfectly.
Yeah.
But instead, they do what they do
I
because,
mean, it's just
yeah.
did somebody kidnap Red Bull's PR team? What happened? Because I don't
I
think
don't
I've
know,
ever seen something
maybe
so
they went to
messy.
Aston Martin because quite frankly,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what they are thinking. I don't know what
Oh,
like, they've always had this reputation of being ruthless, which is fair. It's a
yeah.
sport at the top end of, like, it's a high end I don't know what the right word is. It's a big thing. And it's for the best people, and it's just like, I understand that you need to sometimes change drivers. That's fine. But my goodness, the way they did it, just shocking.
Mess, mess, mess.
Messy, messy, messy.
Anyway, with Daniel gone, VCARB needed another driver to fill his seat. This was not a vexing issue, however, as their reserve driver, Liam Lawson, had been waiting in the wings, ready to swoop at any opportunity to be in the car. Just like Daniel, Liam knew he was going to be in the car come Kota, so Liam will pilot the second VCARB for the remaining 6 races. However, his future is not yet secure. Getting a contract for next year depends on his performance over the last quarter of this season. One race that Red Bull probably won't be evaluating closely is the Kota Sprint, because to welcome Liam back into F1 with open arms, he is set to take an engine penalty, meaning he will start the sprint 10 places down from where he qualified. Uno, how do you think Liam will perform?
I don't think it's the sprint. I think it's the main race that he has the penalty for.
It is the sprint.
Is it?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm fairly certain because
Oh,
you can take an engine penalty in the sprint.
can you?
Yeah, in the sprint. It is in the sprint. I'm looking at the Autosports article.
Oh, okay, okay. No, that's cool. That's cool. I always assumed it would have to be for the main race.
You know, you would think so because taking an engine penalty in the sprint just makes 10 times more sense.
Yeah, it's not like VCarb are going to get points in the sprint
No,
anyway.
honestly, it's
I mean,
just like
well,
who
I mean, they
cares?
might, but chances are it's not going to
They need to
happen.
bring back the Miami livery for that.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, okay, yeah, yeah, because Ricciardo was like fourth for that race, so yeah, he
Yeah.
was in the,
And Yuki got
and then
points in
Yuki,
that sprint.
yeah, but Yuki benefited from a lot of DNFs because of the Norris incident on the first lap. I think there was a whole bunch of like top team cars that just went off, and Yuki was like, "Thank you," and got himself into the points, which we love for him. Great, great going for him. But yeah, okay, sorry, my bad. If it's for the sprint, it's for the sprint. Well
Yeah.
played, VCarb. Well played.
Yeah, I mean, Liam realistically wouldn't have done much in the sprint. And I mean, I don't think Kota would be strong for him anyway because it's like his. I don't think he's been doing. I mean, he's probably been doing sim stuff, but he hasn't been racing.
Yeah, so I actually have a different theory on that. So they're getting Red Bull parts
Yeah,
for Quota. VCarb are getting Red Bull
yeah.
parts. I think it's Red Bull suspension, I think. And then I think they're getting something else a little bit later on as well
They're
in the next
yeah, they're
race.
getting a no, they're getting a couple bits in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and Quota though, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Liam's actually gonna know more about those parts than Yuki would because those are from the Red Bull and
Uh
Liam's
huh.
driven the Red Bull. So I actually think Liam might have a touch of an upper hand when it comes to the upgrades because he's familiar with how they
Mhm.
work on a car. Now, will they work the same on the VCarb as they work on the Red Bull? Probably not, but he'll probably have more of an understanding around them beforehand, before Yuki does, because Yuki's going to test them out the first time at FP1. I would imagine that Liam has a slight, not a massive advantage, just because he knows what those parts feel like, what they can do, etc. And Yuki doesn't have that experience. I don't know how much of a benefit that will be to him, but I do think he's going to have a little bit more
To
knowledge
me,
about what to expect.
that's like it might just like balance it out a bit because Liam's going to have the disadvantage of not having been in the F1 car the whole season. So he has that disadvantage and then the advantage of knowing about the Red Bull parts, so it might just cancel out.
Yeah, because I think Liam's just done like some tire tests and stuff
Yeah.
for Pirelli, and he didn't they? I think they had a filming day like a couple months ago, I think, where he drove the V carb. I think it was
Mm.
him and Ayumu drove the VCARB, I think. Yeah, so I don't know. I just think it might be a bit of an advantage for him just because he knows what those parts can do. But yeah, as you say, he's not. Last season, he had been doing Super Formula,
Yeah,
so he was in a lot better shape. I would imagine he was in better shape to drive.
yeah, because this year no Super Formula, just reserve driver. So I mean, he'll have
Yeah,
the occasional tire test filming day, but that's not like doing a race.
yeah, and I would imagine that Red Bull had put him in a few older cars,
Oh yeah,
just to keep him up to speed, literally and figuratively. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna have a bad time at Kota. I really
well
don't.
maybe in the sprint at least.
Yeah,
It'll just be
yeah,
because I mean the VCARB, what like highest it could probably qualify, or maybe with the upgrades, you could say P8 is maximum.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
being
Actually, yeah, because with upgrades, you might find that they leapfrog Williams and Haas
yeah,
again because
s-
they've been fighting with Williams and Haas now for a while, and Aston.
mm,
And it's sort of always like it depends on the track which one's better, but maybe now with these upgrades they can sort of finally take on that fifth fastest car mantle because it's sort of
yeah,
been between those teams for a while now. It started off as just Aston was like a clear P5 and then it kind of jumped around a lot throughout the season. So hopefully this final part of the season VCARB can truly claim that position back because look, Yuki has done well at Kota in the past. He got the fastest lap there last year and he finished P10. So he got 2 points, I think. And then there were disqualifications. So ended up getting more. I think he ended up getting 5 points at Kota at the end after all the disqualifications. So it's a track that he's good at, that he's performed at well, and that the car has done well at in the past. So let's hope for the best for
yeah.
Yuki's sake.
So
But
yeah,
I also think that Liam will be decent there as well.
yeah. I mean, what I'm imagine Liam qualifies like P8, but that's going to be P18. So we'll just ignore the sprint race, like that. We'll see in the actual race. I mean, I don't know the last time Liam would have driven at Kota.
Yeah, no, it does not look like he's raced at Kota before. So it will be his first time at Kota. So okay,
That's a bit of a disadvantage because he's got to learn the track, and it's a sprint, and he's only got one free practice to learn the track.
okay. So now Yuki's looking a bit safer now.
Yeah, we
Okay,
we
so
made it there.
that's going to be interesting. So they each have their positives and their negatives going
Yeah.
into the weekend in terms of experience with that car and that track. So yeah, it should be interesting to see how it turns out.
Since Liam has been promoted from his role as reserve driver for both VCARB and Red Bull, a promising F2 hopeful has taken his place. Isack Hadjar, who is currently P2 in the F2 standings, has been announced as Red Bull's new reserve.
Yeah, that's so exciting for him. I'm excited to see him on track doing a couple of free practice sessions, hopefully. Hopefully, he'll get a few more of those in. And
Mm.
who knows, with all the drama at Red Bull, he might find himself with a seat before the end of 2025.
Yeah, I mean, finally, the producers are going to have somebody else to cut the camera to, opposed from Liam. So at
Oh,
least there's
it's
that.
gonna be. Are we gonna see cuts between Liam?
Liam and Isaac.
It's like, yeah, Liam's like, oh, how the tables have turned. They will obviously have him there for Red Bull, but obviously it's with a mind to putting him into VCARB. So
Yeah,
it will be interesting to see how that plays out, the dynamic between Yuki and Liam, because Yuki's a data point in Red Bull. He's not an actual human being with, with talents and skills and like an ability to progress up into the senior team. He's merely a data point at which to compare other drivers according to Christian Horner. Because yeah, this is what Horner had said on the podcast that F1 released this week. Hadjar will be in a tricky position because he will be expected to jump into that car at any moment should the need arise, but that's also a great opportunity for him. So good luck to him. May the gods have mercy on his soul and that team.
Yeah,
And
God.
for his sake, I hope that he will be okay, because that is not a healthy environment to be in.
Hopefully he doesn't become a data point. Aye.
Yeah, because yeah, I'm just so angry about that phrase. That just that refer to him as a data point. Ah!
Yuki needs to get his ass out of that
My
team.
God, Yuki, run away. Run away. Please,
God,
Honda, save him. Please, Haas, save
please.
him.
I
I'm
will
just so angry because there were other teams that wanted to sign him,
I will
and he was like
take
in talks, and Red Bull was like, "No, you can't have him. He's ours for
I
us
will
to use
look.
as a data point." Ugh.
I will take the Honda driver allegations if he can get a seat at Aston Martin.
Oh my God,
I
just
will
like,
literally
please.
I will. I'll be like, "Yes, happily."
I know we've discussed about not going on tangents here, but why is Yuki Tsunoda called a Honda merchant, but Ollie Behrman is not called a Ferrari merchant, and Kimi Antonelli is not called a Mercedes merchant? It's the exact
Uh,
same thing. These
it's
people
this
support
really,
them.
really fun thing called racism. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I'm from South Africa. I know exactly what that
Yes,
is.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's
that's what it
absolutely
is.
ridiculous, and I'm so tired of it. Oh my goodness, someone cares about him enough to sponsor his career.
And
Shock horror, like, that's never happened in
it's
Formula
like
1 before,
Honda,
please.
massive automotive company in Japan, they're gonna pick somebody good to put their, like, money behind,
Yeah,
you
with a
know?
massive legacy in Formula 1, like
They're not just gonna pick somebody off of the street.
I
He's
know,
there
it's so
because he's
bizarre.
good and Honda sees that. Like
There's so many good racing drivers from Japan. If they If they didn't think Yuki was good enough, they would have picked someone else. They've got so many people to
honestly.
choose from. They have their whole own like super formula series that they can use to like find. In Japan, they have. It's not
Yeah.
like they're short of drivers there. They have short drivers, but they're not short of drivers. And if anyone offended by that, I'm short as well. It's not a diss against Yuki. And this is, it's so ridiculous. Anyway, sorry, I will stop my
That's the
tangent. I
tangent done, okay.
apologize. Yeah.
Finally, for a bit of light-hearted news, Zane Maloney, who is currently P3 in the F2 standings, has been announced as a lowly Yamaha ABT driver for Formula E next season. And I personally think this is a really great and smart thing for him to do because he had no chance of getting an F1 seat. Like, no whispering, no discussion, no rumor of his name ever being brought up, which is really quite sad. But it is the way it is. And he's been in F2 for 3 seasons. And so to decide to take the jump to another series, I think was like the best thing for his career.
It's so good for him. I'm so happy for him. It's going to be a great experience. He's going to be racing with some of the best drivers in the world. And while the Formula E to Formula 1 pipeline isn't exactly renowned to have great results, I think you can still make a very good name for yourself in that series, and you can do amazing things. So good luck to him. Happy for him. So excited to see what he can do.
Thank you for joining us. That's all the news we have for you this week. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, as we will have news for you every Wednesday. Thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your day or night. Bye!
Goodbye. Did you know Liam Lawson's website is liamlawson.co.nz?
Cute.
That's from New Zealand. That's very cute. I would have expected a .com, but bless him for repping his home country like that.